If you've ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you're there, or if retrieving a familiar name feels like searching through a fog, you are not alone. And no, this is not just a normal part of aging. It is often a sign of a starving brain. Most seniors are spending money on generic memory pills that never cross the blood-brain barrier. They are useless. The truth is, to restore sharpness and protect your memories, your brain demands 3 very specific compounds. Today, I will reveal exactly what they are. But stay with me for number 3. It is the master key to brain restoration. But it only works if you take it at a specific time to match your brain's nightly cleaning cycle. Miss this, and you miss the healing. Hello, and welcome to the Senior Wellness Center. I am Dr. Kenji Sato. In my years specializing in preventive neurology and healthy aging, I have sat across from thousands of patients who carry a heavy, silent burden. It is the deep, paralyzing fear that these senior moments are the beginning of the end. The fear of losing your independence, or worse, becoming a burden to the children you raised. I want you to take a deep breath and listen closely. That fear is valid, but the resignation is not. Science has moved past the idea that the brain simply decays with time. We now know about neuroplasticity, your brain's incredible ability to repair, rewire, and grow new connections, whether you are 60, 70, or 80 years old. However, this biological miracle cannot happen on empty fumes. Your brain is a high-performance engine that consumes 20% of your body's energy. If you do not provide the specific raw materials it needs to rebuild its infrastructure, it begins to shrink. This is called cerebral atrophy. But today, we stop that process. We are going to bypass the marketing hype and focus on the biochemistry of brain restoration. We will talk about 3 specific nutrients that can cross the fortress walls of your brain and turn the lights back on. Let's begin with supplement number 1. I call this the architect of your cognitive structure. Many patients come to me asking for a brain booster, expecting a stimulant or caffeine pill. But you cannot boost a machine that is falling apart structurally. You see, your brain is unique among organs. It is approximately 60% fat. This is not a flaw. It is by design. The membranes of your neurons, the outer shells that allow electrical signals to pass, are built almost entirely of fatty acids. Think of your neuron walls like the hinges on a door. If the material is soft and oiled, the door swings open instantly. That is a sharp, quick memory. But if the material is rigid and dry, the door jams. It gets stuck. That is brain fog. That is the name on the tip of your tongue that you simply cannot access. To keep those hinges flexible, you need omega-3 fatty acids. But here is where 90% of seniors, and even many doctors, get it completely wrong. Omega-3 is not a single molecule. It is primarily composed of 2 distinct acids, EPA and DHA. Please memorize these 3 letters. DHA. EPA is fantastic for your heart and for lowering joint inflammation. But for your brain, EPA is merely a guest. DHA is the resident. Di makes up over 90% of the Omega-3 fat specifically found in your brain tissue. It is the literal building block of your mind. You can take gallons of generic fish oil, but if it is mostly EPA with very little DHA, you are protecting your heart while your brain continues to starve and shrink. I want you to do a little investigation. Go to your medicine cabinet and take out your current fish oil supplement. Ignore the big 1,000 milligrams printed on the front. That is just the total oil volume. It tells you nothing about the medicine inside. Turn the bottle around and look at the small print on the supplement facts panel. You are looking for the specific number next to DHA. If it says 120 milligrams or even 200 milligrams, that is woefully insufficient for cognitive repair. That is a maintenance dose for a 30-year-old, not a restoration dose for a senior. Low levels of DHA are strongly linked to smaller brain volume and accelerated cognitive decline. We cannot afford that. Finding a high concentration DHA supplement can be frustrating because manufacturers often hide low ratios behind fancy marketing labels like extra strength. You need a verified, pure source that prioritizes brain health over cheap filler oil. To save you the headache of squinting at labels in the pharmacy aisle, I have curated a link to a high-potency certified pure DHA formulation. It is the exact profile I recommend to my own patients to rebuild that neural infrastructure. You can find that direct link in the first pinned comment below. So, what are the numbers you should be looking for? For cognitive preservation, I recommend a target of 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of total fish oil daily. However, within that total dose, you must ensure you are receiving a minimum of 500 milligrams of pure DHA. That is the therapeutic threshold where we start to see results. If you prefer to source your medicine from the ocean rather than a bottle, that is an excellent strategy, provided you choose the right catch. Your best allies are small, cold water fatty fish. Sardines are arguably the perfect brain food, nutrient dense and low in mercury. Wild-caught salmon is another fantastic option. Please be diligent about choosing wild-caught over farmed salmon, which can often be higher in inflammatory toxins and lower in nutrients. Mackerel is another top-tier choice. Now, I often hear patients ask, "Dr. Sato, can I just eat walnuts or flax seeds?" While I love walnuts, they contain a plant-based omega-3 called ALA. Your body is very inefficient at converting ALA into the DHA your brain needs. The conversion rate is often less than 5%. So for brain repair, rely on the fish or the algae-based supplements, not just the nuts. Now, I must pause for a critically important safety warning. This is part of responsible medicine. High-dose omega-3 acts as a natural blood thinner. It reduces the stickiness of platelets, which is generally good for circulation. However, if you are currently taking prescription anticoagulants like warfarin, Coumadin, or even a daily aspirin regimen, this can be a dangerous combination. Combining them could increase your risk of bleeding. If you are on these medications, you must consult your physician before adding high-dose fish oil to your routine. We want to sharpen your mind, not compromise your safety. With DHA, we have successfully rebuilt the physical structure of your brain cells. The walls are now strong, flexible, and ready for action. But a house can have perfect walls and still be completely dark inside if there is no electricity running through the wires. To fire those neurons and retrieve memories instantly, we need to turn the power back on. That brings us to our second essential compound. This brings us to vitamin number 2, which I call the spark plug of your neural network. Vitamin B12. You might think of B12 just for physical energy, but in neurology, its role is far more critical. It is the guardian of your myelin sheath. Imagine the nerves in your brain as thousands of miles of electrical wiring. The myelin sheath is the rubber insulation around those wires. When B12 levels drop, that insulation begins to strip away. This is called demyelination. Without that protection, the electrical signals, your thoughts, your memories, your commands to move short-circuit. They slow down. This biological short-circuit manifests as slower thinking, difficulty finding words, and that frustrating feeling that your brain is processing in slow motion. In severe, prolonged cases, the lack of B12 leads to actual brain shrinkage atrophy. Now, here is the cruel twist of aging. You might be eating plenty of meat and eggs, which are rich in B12, yet your brain could still be starving for it. Why? Because after the age of 60, your stomach chemistry changes. You produce less stomach acid and less of a crucial protein called intrinsic factor. Intrinsic factor is the taxi that drives B12 from your stomach into your bloodstream. Without it, the B12 just passes right through you. This is why so many seniors are deficient, even with a good diet. And this is why most cheap multivitamins fail you completely. They use a synthetic form of B12 called cyanocobalamin. It is cheap, stable on the shelf, and very hard for an aging body to use. Your liver has to work hard to convert it into an active form, a process that becomes inefficient as we get older. You are essentially asking your body to do heavy lifting just to access the medicine. We want to bypass that struggle. The solution is to supplement directly with the active, bioidentical form, methylcobalamin. Methylcobalamin does not need conversion. It is ready to go to work immediately, repairing that myelin insulation and firing up your neurons. Because absorption in the stomach is the main hurdle for seniors, I strongly recommend a sublingual liquid or a dissolvable lozenge. By placing it under your tongue, the vitamin enters your bloodstream directly through the mucosal tissues, bypassing the stomach entirely. Finding a pure methylcobalamin supplement without unnecessary fillers can be tricky in standard drugstores, which are flooded with the cheap synthetic version. To ensure you get the bioactive foam your brain can actually use, I have selected a high-quality methylcobalamin option for you. You can find the link to this specific spark plug nutrient in the pinned comment below. Do not settle for the synthetic imitation. So let's talk about the numbers. Because your body's ability to absorb this vitamin diminishes so drastically with age, we cannot rely on standard recommended daily allowances. Those are minimums for survival, not optimal levels for a senior brain. To overcome the lack of intrinsic factor in your stomach, we need to flood the system. I recommend a daily dosage between 1,000 and 5,000 micrograms of methylcobalamin. Some patients worry about toxicity with such high numbers. Please, put your mind at ease. Vitamin B12 is water-soluble. This means your body is incredibly smart. It will take what it desperately needs to repair your nerves and simply flush the rest out through your urine. It is virtually impossible to overdose on B12. For those of you who still love to cook and want to support this with food, we need to look at the most nutrient-dense options available. Beef liver is the undisputed king of B12. It falls out of favor in modern diets, but your grandparents knew its value. It is nature's concentrated multivitamin. If liver is not to your taste, look to the ocean. Clams and mollusks are surprisingly potent. Just a small serving provides a massive influx of B12. And of course, egg yolks. Do not throw away the yolk. That is where the brain-protecting nutrients live. Before we move on, I want to share something that might change your life or the life of someone you love. In my practice, I have encountered heartbroken families who were told their loved one had early-onset Alzheimer's or senile dementia. They were preparing for the long goodbye. They were looking at care homes, but often the diagnosis was premature. Severe B12 deficiency mimics dementia almost perfectly. The confusion, the memory lapses, even the difficulty with balance and walking, these are all symptoms of a starving nervous system. When we identified this and introduced high-dose methylcobalamin, it was like waking up from a long dream. The fog lifted, the personality returned. It was not the end of their life. It was just a missing nutrient. If you are struggling, check your B12 before you accept a darker diagnosis. There is hope. Now we have rebuilt the cell walls with DHA. We have turned on the electrical power with B12, but we have one final massive hurdle to clear. Your brain is a fortress. It is protected by a highly selective border wall called the blood-brain barrier. This barrier is designed to keep toxins out, which is good, but it also keeps most standard minerals out, which is bad. Most supplements you take never even make it inside the brain to do their job. They circulate in your blood, but your brain remains deficient. To solve this, we need a specialized transporter, a Trojan horse that can trick the barrier and deliver magnesium directly to the memory centers of your mind. This brings us to supplement number 3, the neurospecialist, Magnesium L-Threonate. You likely already know that magnesium is essential. It is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in your body. But for the brain, its role is non-negotiable. Magnesium controls the density and stability of your synapses, the connection points between neurons where memories are stored. When brain magnesium levels are high, your synapses are dense and robust. You learn faster. You recall names quicker. This is called synaptic plasticity. When levels drop, those connections wither away like dead leaves. You lose the ability to hold on to new information. Here is the problem. The blood-brain barrier is an incredibly strict security guard. It does not just let anyone in. Most forms of magnesium you find at the supermarket magnesium oxide, magnesium citrate, are chemically unable to pass the security check effectively. They are fantastic for helping you with constipation or relaxing tight calf muscles, but they stay in your gut and your blood. They do not penetrate the brain tissue. You could take handfuls of magnesium oxide until you have an upset stomach and your brain levels would barely budge. It is a waste of money for cognitive health. This was a massive problem in neurology until scientists developed a patented form called Magnesium L-Threonate. This molecule was specifically engineered to cross the blood-brain barrier. It acts like a VIP pass. Studies have shown that it is the only form capable of significantly elevating magnesium concentrations in the cerebrospinal fluid. It goes right where the memories are made. But because it is a patented, specialized compound, you will almost never find it on the shelf of a generic pharmacy. They stock the cheap stuff. To help you avoid buying the wrong bottle, I have included a direct link to a verified Magnesium L-Threonate supplement in the pinned comment. It is more of an investment than the cheap oxide, but you are paying for the only delivery system that actually reaches your brain. Now, remember the warning I gave you at the start? The one about the secret timing? This is where most people fail. They buy the right magnesium, but they take it at the wrong time, wasting its most powerful potential. To understand why, we need to talk about how your brain cleans itself. Your brain has a plumbing system, just like your house. It is called the glymphatic system. Throughout the day, as you think and work, your neurons produce metabolic waste. Think of it as the exhaust fumes from a car. This waste includes sticky proteins like beta amyloid, which are the hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. If this trash builds up, it clogs your neural pathways. But here is the catch. The glymphatic system, the cleaning crew, only turns on when you are in deep restorative sleep. During deep sleep, your brain cells literally shrink slightly to allow cerebrospinal fluid to wash through and flush out the toxins. This is why poor sleep is so devastating for memory. If you don't sleep deeply, the trash never gets taken out. This is where Magnesium L-Threonate becomes your secret weapon, but only if you time it right. If you take it in the morning with breakfast, you will get some cognitive benefit, but you miss the main event. The rule is simple. Take your Magnesium L-Threonate 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Why? Because magnesium is a powerful nervous system relaxant. It calms the fight or flight response and prepares your brain for deep sleep. By taking it at night, you are doing two things at once. You are providing the raw material for synaptic repair, and you are facilitating the deep sleep needed to wash away the toxins. You are literally supercharging your brain's nightly self-cleaning cycle. You wake up sharper because your brain is cleaner. As for dosage, the standard therapeutic protocol is usually around 1,500 to 2,000 milligrams of L-Threonate. Note that this provides about 144 milligrams of elemental magnesium, which is perfect for the brain without overwhelming the bowels. So, let's recap. We are not just taking random pills. We are executing a strategic protocol for brain regeneration. We have the omega-3 DHA to rebuild the physical structure of your neurons. We have the B12 methylcobalamin to reignite the electrical energy and protect your nerves. And we have the Magnesium L-Threonate taken at night to clear out the toxic waste and lock in new memories. This is the cognitive triangle: structure, energy, and cleaning. We have covered a lot of ground today. Remember the cognitive triangle. High-DHA Omega-3 for the walls, Methylcobalamin B12 for the wires, and Magnesium L-Threonate for the nightly cleaning crew. I am asking you to commit to this protocol for 90 days. Give your brain the time it needs to physically rebuild its infrastructure. And please remember this. No matter your age, your brain is designed to heal. It is waiting for you to provide the right tools. The neuroplasticity of the brain is a fact, not a theory. It is never too late to turn the lights back on. I know the pharmacy aisle can be a confusing minefield of weak blends and synthetic fillers. To ensure you don't waste money on ineffective forms, I have curated a list of the exact types, methyl, high-DHA, and L-Threonate, so you don't buy the wrong ineffective types. You will find that list in the first pinned comment below this video. Please use it as your guide. And if you want to know the best foods to eat alongside these supplements to supercharge your memory, watch this video appearing on your screen now. It's the perfect companion to what you just learned. I'm Dr. Kenji Sato, dedicated to your cognitive longevity. I'll see you there.